From the News Center, this is News Channel 8 Today.
Good morning. I'm Gail Guayardo.
I'm Rod Carter. Glad you could join us this morning. It's 5 o'clock. Our top story this Tuesday morning, the excitement is rising in Germany this morning. Soccer fans in Berlin anxiously awaiting the return of their home team from a championship run at the World Cup. You can see them there all gathered. This is a live picture. Germany, as you'll recall, beat Argentina in the final game in Brazil. About 26.5 million people watched that matchup.
Today, a judge is expected to rule on who will be the next owner of Channelside. 3 companies bid on the bankrupt development earlier this month. The winner is expected to be Tampa Bay Lightning owner Jeff Vinik. A rival bidder is already planning an appeal.
Sergeant Bo Bergdahl is back on regular duty with the Army this morning. He was held captive by the Taliban for nearly 5 years. The Taliban did release him back in May in exchange for 5 Taliban leaders. Sergeant Bergdahl is assigned to Fort Sam Houston in San Antonio. The Army is still investigating his disappearance and capture. It's 5:01. Let's get a check on our rainy forecast in some parts of the Bay Area.
Yeah, a lot of us are dry, but then there are these isolated spots of heavy downpours. Let's show you where those are, because a lot of them, where a lot of you may be waking up, right here over the bay, just came out of Pinellas County. So here's the Howard Franklin, here's the Courtney Campbell, rain there. We also have some showers now in Dunedin, right near West Chase, heading up into central portions of Hillsborough County. And Sarasota, you're our next hot spot, even a lightning strike or two here between Lakewood Ranch and Sarasota, and a few light showers in Manatee. So we kept that rain chance in west of I-75 for the first part of the day as temperatures climb up through the low 80s. By noon, just about anybody has a chance at seeing a shower. 87 degrees at 1 p.m. Then the rain chance goes up to 40% later today, and that's mostly for inland areas, so places east of I-75 with a high temperature expected right around 90. So in weather and traffic on the 8s, that's at 5:08. I'll go city by city so you know how hot it's going to be at your house, as well as when the rain should arrive. And you just showed us on the traffic cameras. Rain's arrived.
That's right. And you talked about Sarasota. Fortunately, traffic looks good in Sarasota despite that rain. And let's go ahead and take a look now at some of our traffic issues. Well, of course, we've got this detour off of the northbound side of the Veterans Expressway, and that is right at Linebell Avenue. It'll put you back on at Gunn Highway, and I'll let you know when that overnight construction is completely wrapped up. Let's take a live look now. Some of that rain Lee was talking about. It is on the Pinellas County side of the Howard Franklin Bridge. You can see it right there. Let's take another look at the Howard Franklin Bridge. This is over at the Tampa side. And see, that's what she's talking about, isolated showers. It looks pretty good as you move into Tampa, so keep that in mind. Let's look at weather and traffic. Back to Rod and Gail.
Happening today.
And we have some breaking news to tell you about. There's been a train derailment in Russia that happened just a short time ago. We know that the train's cars derailed. They were forced off the track after a power surge forced the train to stop abruptly. Now, city officials do tell us that about half of the injured are in grave condition this morning. At least 100 people are hurt, and at least one person is still trapped. We're continuing to cover this story for you, and we'll bring you updates online and on air as we get them.
Happening today, the judge and attorneys in an emotional local murder trial will try and narrow down a jury pool.
Yeah, it's going to be a rather daunting task for them because of the emotional nature of this case. Richard McTeer is accused of throwing a baby from a car window onto the interstate. News Channel 8's Adrian Pedersen is live this morning at the Hillsborough County Courthouse with much more on this story. And pretrial publicity is going to be a big deal in selecting a jury in this case.
That's for sure. Good morning, Rod. Not only that, but also the fact that the judge is telling us this trial could last up to 4 weeks. And you know, that's really a big commitment for jurors. But also, like you said, it's a high-profile case that several potential jurors are claiming that they know too much about to give Richard McTeer a fair trial.
Do you come to court today with your mind made up that he's already guilty?
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry?
Yes, sir.
You think he's guilty?
Yes, sir.
And you haven't heard any evidence?
No, sir.
Out of 200 jurors, 65, including that gentleman you just heard from, were already released due to their strong opinions. Today, 135 potential jurors will be right back here at the Hillsborough County Courthouse. Now, several people talking about how they're parents or maybe grandparents, and they simply couldn't be unbiased during such a gruesome case involving a 3-month-old child. So day 2 of jury selection begins out here at the Hillsborough County Courthouse in just a few hours. hours. And today the judge will be focusing on asking questions about hardships and how people feel about personal tragedies. Of course, we will be inside as it all happens and bring you the very latest details.
Yeah, we've been talking about this case for years, and it does tug on emotional heartstrings. Thank you, Adrian.
New this morning, a stalemate in the Middle East conflict. Israel accepted a proposal for a ceasefire with Hamas. However, Hamas has rejected that deal from Egypt. Israeli government officials promise if Hamas does not accept the truce, it will strike even harder. The Israeli government is already reporting at least 3 rockets launched its way from Gaza this morning.
Also new this morning, a suspect in the Benghazi attack is dead. The body of Faraj al-Shabli was found in a Libyan town. He was last seen being detained by local militia 2 days ago. It's unclear how he died. Al-Shabli was a suspect in the attack on the U.S. compound in September 2012. 4 Americans, including U.S. Ambassador Chris Stevens, died in that attack.
The number of victims are starting to stack up. More and more people in the Bay Area are getting ripped off by fraudsters. They're claiming to be Tampa Electric workers. Now, if you recognize the woman you see in these photos, you could help track down those scammers. News Channel 8's Melissa Beckman is live in the Tampa News Center this morning with much more on this. And Melissa, it could be a big break for investigators in this case.
Good morning, Rod. That is what they are hoping, and investigators hope that you can help recognize the woman who is now connected to some of these cases where customers are told their power will be cut off unless they make an immediate payment on a prepaid credit card.
There you go, Mama.
Melinda Cawthorn is out $2 grand at her Plant City restaurant.
It took my heart. I'm gonna tell you the truth. It took my heart.
Lady, who gets that clam sauce?
The owner of Mott and Hester Deli also got ripped off.
My worker called me and said, they're coming, the TECO called, and they're coming to disconnect my power if the bill isn't paid immediately.
Hillsborough County Sheriff's detectives believe the woman in these surveillance photos is involved in this scheme. They claim she's redeemed prepaid debit cards at Hudson and Spring Hill public supermarkets in April. And investigators believe these thieves are now targeting small mom and pop businesses because their electric usage is higher than in homes. Anyone who recognizes that blonde woman is urged to call the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office. Rod.
All right, Melissa, thank you so much.
In Hillsborough County this morning, an investigation into the death of a worker at an old TECO plant. 31-year-old Brian Hagan fell about 40 feet from a platform and died. He was working for Southeastern Construction and Maintenance Company. They were dismantling the old plant on Port Sutton Road when the accident happened. Happening today, Governor Rick Scott will push his hurricane safety message right here in the Bay Area. The governor will visit the Hillsborough County Emergency Operations Center this afternoon. While there, he will encourage all Floridians to be prepared for hurricane season. Hurricane season runs through November. All right, the time right now is 5:08. Time for weather and traffic on the 8s. Fortunately, we're not talking about any hurricanes right now.
Boy, we definitely are excited about that for sure. But we're also watching this muggy condition coming off the Gulf of Mexico, pushing in a few showers. So if you're waking up right now in the Crystal River area, you're probably hearing thunder. That thunderstorm is just off the Citrus coastline at this point. If you're traveling over the Courtney Campbell or the Howard Franklin Bridge, we still have that small area of rain there, also in Dunedin. And then look at this now. In the city of Sarasota, right next to I-75 down from Lakewood Ranch, we have 26 lightning strikes happening as we speak. So heads up there. It's all because of this onshore flow. By 6:45, notice where the rain is, near the coast. As we head through lunchtime, we begin to see a few more showers popping up. And then by 4 o'clock this afternoon, almost all of the rain is in interior portions of the state east of I-75. Today's high, 92 in Brooksville. We'll hit 92 in Sebring, 90 in Sarasota, 91 in Riverview, and 92 in Lando Lake. So we do have some showers out there already. So that causing any issues?
Absolutely.
Of course it is.
Of course it is. We just showed you some live pictures of the Howard Franklin Bridge. Folks, right before you get to that, right where that rain is, where Lee was talking about here, northbound, right at Roosevelt, that's where we now have a crash. It just came through this area and still lingering out there. So we've got an accident right there. Fortunately, it's not tying up any lanes. Let's go ahead and take a live look now. Right beyond that, this is 270 right around 4th Street. That's just before you get onto the Howard Franklin Bridge. Looks a little bit better here, but you can see very wet in the area. Definitely use some caution out there. Keep the speeds at a safe speed. That's a look at weather and traffic on the 8s. Back to Rod and Gail.
All right, thanks so much, Leslie. It's 10 minutes past 5 this Tuesday morning. Coming up, we're hearing from the man trapped in jail for 30 hours.
Incredible story. How he escaped is next.
Then a sneaky carry-on, how one man tried to bring a giant invasive species from Nigeria to the United States.
And a FaceTime hero, how one boy saved his mom while she was having a seizure by using his iPad. You're watching News Channel 8 today. 10 people are dead and more than 100 hurt in a train derailment in Moscow. The train cars were forced off the track after a power surge forced the train to stop abruptly. City officials report about half of the injuries are grave, and they're in grave condition. And at least one person is still trapped.
A powerful message this morning from the state. The Department of Children and Families released a new PSA to remind parents about the dangers of leaving children in hot cars.
I haven't sold a house in 3 months. I need someone to buy something.
They're coming waves, man. You know that. Oh, that big home on Whittier Road, the one by the road.
High in the upper 80s.
That message shows just how easy it could be to get distracted and forget to look in the back seat before you lock up. It reminds parents that a locked up car in the hot sun can rise 20 degrees and become deadly in just 10 minutes.
This morning, we are hearing from an Illinois man accidentally trapped in jail for 30 hours.
He wants to make sure that this does not ever happen to anyone else again. Farood Polk went to visit his son at the Cook County Jail in Chicago and somehow ended up locked up in an 8x8 visiting room without any food, water, or even a bathroom.
Sitting there for 5 minutes, I'm like, this ain't right. So as I turn around to buzz out, I mean, it ain't nothing to buzz out on. They don't have a buzz out in the car. It's just a room. Kicking the door, screaming, hollering up, screaming under the door.
Polk eventually pulled down part of the ceiling, setting off sprinklers and alarms. When the fire department came to rescue him, they put him in cuffs until he convinced them he was not an inmate. Now Polk is suing for emotional trauma.
The first African-American woman to win an Olympic gold medal has passed away. Alice Coachman Davis died in Georgia, in South Georgia. She won the gold medal in the high jump at the 1948 Olympics in London. Coachman Davis also made history when she signed an endorsement deal with Coca-Cola in 1952. She was 90 years old.
A truck driver is being blamed for a fiery crash with a passenger train in Louisiana. The truck exploded in flames when an Amtrak train smashed into it. The driver survived, and luckily there were no serious injuries. A few train passengers suffered minor cuts and bruises. An investigation this morning into the cause of a fire in Massachusetts. The flames destroyed a house under construction near Boston. The fire was so intense, officials evacuated neighboring homes for a while. No one was hurt. So the next time you fly, remember, you're not allowed to pack your giant African snails. Yes, someone tried to bring 67 giant African snails into the U.S. from Nigeria. Customs inspectors at LAX spotted the suspicious luggage and stopped the mollusk in their slimy tracks. It was a slow go, but the snails pose an agriculture threat since they like to eat 500 different varieties of plants. Now, on a more serious note, they also may carry a parasite that can lead to meningitis. A 4-year-old Indiana boy is being called a hero this morning. He FaceTimed his grandparents in Florida and saved his mom's life. Elijah Riley's mom was having a seizure. When he couldn't find the iPhone to call 911, he picked up the iPad to FaceTime his grandfather in Florida. His grandfather called 911 and sent paramedics to the family's home.
I saved my whole life.
You saved your mommy's life? You're a hero?
Yeah, I was a hero, a G.I. Joe hero.
Yeah, what a smart boy. Now that Elijah is a superhero, he is asking for an iPhone for his birthday. Well deserved.
What's Brewing is brought to you by McDonald's. Start your morning with a wholesome breakfast at McDonald's.
I agree. All right, there's a lot going on WFLA.com this morning, so let's check out what's brewing. A Spring Hill girl wins quite the honor. She has been crowned Miss Junior Teen United States. Simona Rivero is a 9th grader at Hernando County and in Hernando County, and you can head to WFLA.com to read much more about her win and her future plans. Congrats to her. All right, take a look at this view of Tampa skyline. A videographer used his quadcopter drone and a GoPro to capture those stunning views. You can watch the entire video on our website. And Mother Nature rained on some beachgoers today. Beachgoers Day. Actually, she did more than rain. She pounded this packed Russian beach with hail. People had to run for cover, huddling under umbrellas and awnings, anything they could find. You can find much more about this extreme storm and the weather that Russia is experiencing on WFLA.com. Thankfully, we're not. It's 5:18. Time for weather and traffic update.
That's right. We're not dealing with hail, but we are dealing with some downpours. That's all coming in off the Gulf of Mexico near the coast. By the afternoon, if you live east of I-75, that's when you get in on the rain action. Now, there is a big, unseasonably strong cold front. It's going to be bringing cooler air to our north, but not here. It will bring us more rain tomorrow.